When I finally got into the Digimon TCG about a month or two ago, I said to myself, look, I'm just going to be super casual and just play for fun. Sure, I might go to locals here and there, but I'll just be sort of like a for fun player. I'll just play for fun. I won't do too many events. I won't get too serious into the TCG. And I said this, you know, like a liar. So now I'm at events at least once a week, starting to go to like locals twice a week at two different places, basically thinking about the card game far too often in my spare time, thinking about decks that I can build, thinking about ways that I can change decks. So yeah, I guess I completely played myself there and lied to myself, and now I'm going to regionals at so as of recording this, it's like a week and a half away, but as of releasing this, it is this upcoming weekend. So I'm going to talk about the deck that I'm running. Do I expect to do well at regionals? No, of course not. I'm still just playing because it's a fun game to play. I like the social interaction. I like talking to people. I like being able to talk to people about Digimon. Everybody that I've met that's into the card game is just lovely. So it's kind of just nice to talk to people like that who are just really great people. And I've made a few friends, so that is really cool. And I've touched grass, so to speak. So it is kind of like a social thing. So no, I don't expect to do well. This deck is good. I'm not good, however, or at least I think this deck's good. It seems good. I enjoy it, and that's what matters. So I'll just go over what I'll be running, or sort of the deck that I'm planning on running at regionals. Again, as of uploading this upcoming weekend. So it is more or less the same as the Vortex Guardian deck that I did a deck profile on a few weeks back. I have done a few changes. I'll try not to make this video as long as the last one. Again, I'm still kind of newish to this kind of content, so let me know in the comments how you think I should do deck profiles going forward, because I do want to do more, especially if these do well. So first of all, let's go over our level 3s. First up, I still have Palmon. It's just a 2 of because it is missed by the Terramon search and the Digimon Liberator searches and the Vortex Resonance searches, which are the ones that look for the avian, bird, etc. as for the starter deck Terramon, so it looks for the bird, avian, and a Vortex Warrior Sword Liberator, and the Liberator and Vortex Resonant ones just look for the trait of Digimon Liberator, which of course Palmon and a few other cards in this deck do not have, so I try not to have too many of those that are missed by these searches. Nothing sadder than when I reveal the top 3 and it's 2 Palmon and a Lilymon, for example, and I have to bot deck all of them. Or the sad one is like a Palmon, a Rapidmon, and a Paladin mode, for example. It's not my favorite thing to bot deck because there's only one of the Paladin mode and 2 of the Palmon, so, and 1 of Rapidmon. So yeah, it's good because I like it, and it's good because it has the start of main phase effect of one of the opponent's Digimon gains all turns. When this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 2 memory, and it gets that until the end of the opponent's turn. So that's super great. It means that it's actually a target. I've had people remove Palmon when they could have removed a bigger threat, a higher level threat, because this is just annoying. Especially because I have a lot of cards in this deck that suspend Digimon. For example, I would have this in breeding, because I always try to prioritize this being in breeding, because then next turn I can promote it, and then after the breeding phase it immediately goes to my main phase and I can use Palmon's effect. And then I would do something like play something that suspends or on Digivolving or on play. For example, this Terramon, which is the promo Terramon that on play, suspend one of the opponent's Digimon. So if I do that, I'm effectively getting this Terramon for 1 memory, because I'm going to be targeting the one with the Palmon effect, and that means that I get 2 memory after this does its on play effect. So it's effectively getting a level 3 for 1. So that's pretty handy to get a level 3 out there if I don't already have one, especially because I might want to do something like evolve to Galemon and get a promo Shoto out, and then I can get a Terramon out and do the search. And a lot of my favourite things to do in this deck are multiple turn things for not much memory. So a lot of the promo Shoto playing is just getting a Terramon out on play, and then I might want to do the starter deck Terramon and do that search. So a lot of it is getting things for free in this deck or at a reduced cost. In a similar way, the inherited ability from Palmon, not that I often evolve her, I usually just keep her out there just to have that Palmon effect of losing the memory when something gets suspended, or gaining a memory rather in my case. So it does have the ability to reduce the Digivolution cost of any Digimon with that inherited effect by 1 if I have a green tamer. Super duper handy, but again, I kind of just keep it out there as Palmon because of that main phase effect. I like that. Next we have, and these are all the same, the EX7 Terramon reduces the evolution cost by 1, and it has the inherent effect of when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon battle, gain 1 memory, which a lot of the Digimon in this deck have that inherited ability, which means that sometimes it'll be end of turn, I'll Vortex into something, and then if it deletes a Digimon, I gain memory, and sometimes I've gained like up to 3 memory depending on the evolution stack. So that's super handy. The effect of reducing the evolution cost is cool because if I have promo Shoto out there, I can suspend it to reduce the memory cost by 1. So I could effectively just reduce the memory cost to free when evolving, and I could do something again like get out my Galmon for free because of the reduced memory cost by 2, and then I can effectively play one of my Shotos, which is great, especially if I have this one in hand, and then I can play this one. So again, multiple things that I can do for very little memory, and that's a lot of the deck, is just trying to get things out and not giving my opponent too much memory, because if they don't have a memory setter, I can effectively leave them on 1 memory in their turn, which again, this is pretty much limits what they can do. And then we have the other Terramon, which I'd already mentioned. It has the on-play searching for the top 3, and that's pretty good. I do like that, except when I, again, miss it by not top decking any of the ones that qualify for me getting them. So it's otherwise pretty good. That's why it's a 4 of. I do like the ability to search, especially when I can play it for free off Digimon Liberator or off the promo Shoto. And also, something else I can do is I can Digimon Liberator into promo Shoto into Terramon for 3 memory. So again, lots of things that I can do for very little memory. Level 4s, I have the EX7 Galmon, I have it as a 3 of. Again, it just does the when digivolving, I have 1 or few tamers, and I get a Shoto from my hand without paying the cost. And it has the inherited effect of if it deletes a Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory. Next, we have something that is newish to the deck, which is the promo Galmon. I don't like this as much as the other Galmon, that's why it's kind of sitting at 2. It does suspend on Digivolving, which is useful, especially, again, if I have Palmon's effect out there. I get to effectively evolve for free, because it's only 2 to evolve, and I get to suspend a Digimon. If there's Palmon effect, I gain 2 memory, so it's a free evolution, effectively. And then it has the effect of, if I'm suspending a Digimon, it gets plus 2000 on the Digivolving, and then if it's my turn, if I have a Shoto Kazuma, it gains piercing. So that's good, but I feel like it's a little bit of a risk to, yes, I get the opponent's security down by 1, but if it attacks into security that is obviously higher than its DP, it dies, which is, again, kind of a risk, but at most this is going to be probably, I guess, 11,000 if it has, no, maths is fake, I guess 9,000 depending on what the inherited effects are. If I have either of the Terramon that have the inherited effect of plus 2,000, and then of course the turn that it evolves, effectively I'm getting it to be plus 2,000. So at most it's going to be like 9,000, which is mostly a risk to get into security, so that's why it's kind of a 2 of, because I don't really like risking my Digimon, especially because if this deck obviously doesn't play, I mean, a lot of decks don't particularly play well if you have limited Digimon, this deck especially, so that's why it's a 2 of. I find that it hasn't been that useful for me in terms of the games that I've played with it so far, but that could just be bad luck. And lastly, we have no, not lastly, I have 2 more level 4s. So we have the starter deck Galemon, which until, like, I'm a Digimon fan, so I can't read, but until, like, embarrassingly recently, I didn't read the last line of its security cost, or security effect rather, which is I get to play something of level 4 or less from my hand or trash. I was just always checking my hand. I'm already pretty bad at remembering the fact that it has a security effect because I'm not used to Digimon having security effects, just option cards. So sometimes, embarrassingly again, my opponent has to point out, hey, your security effect though. And I'm like, oopsies, but it's the hand or trash. I've only been searching my hand and like, oh, I don't have anything in my hand that I can play. But I've definitely had something in my trash that I could have played. So I guess I've been misplaying that pretty badly, so that's good. I need to learn how to read, cool and fun. And then it does have Vortex, so at the end of the turn it can attack into an opponent's Digimon. With this effect it can attack the turn it was played, and then it has the inherited effect of this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP, which is one of, like, basically one of the 2 inherited effects that are common in this deck, the other one being the if it deletes a Digimon, gain 1 memory. So you can get some pretty big dudes in this. And then lastly, finally, we have in the level 4s, we have Aquilamon, still a 1 of. I find that I'm definitely hard playing this more than I'm evolving, because it evolves for 3, or it's a hard play for 4. And what's 1 memory between friends, especially when we can gain memory from Digimon attacking and deleting other Digimon, or just Palmon being a bro. So this one has jamming, so if it does a security check, it can't be deleted by the security Digimon. That's pretty handy. Then it has the on play and when digivolving, so either or. Deletes one of the opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. I have a lot of Digimon in this deck that help me remove threats before they become threats. Of course, if someone has something that is a threat and I can't delete it, that's a problem. So lately I've been playing this deck really aggressively by not letting my opponent have too much of a board presence. So deleting low level Digimon before they can be anything else. The other Digimon that does that in this deck that's good at that is Lilymon, who you can do, I'll just hover over it so I get the wording right, may return one of my opponent's suspended Digimon with 5000 DP or less to the bottom of the deck. So again, removing a threat before it becomes a bigger threat, or a potential to be a threat rather. So that's pretty handy, and then it does have the inherited effect. Not that I evolve this too often because I just like attacking for jamming. It's like kind of like mostly a safe attack unless I attack into an option card and it says like target player loses the game or whatever, I don't know. So I don't often digivolve it, but it does have a pretty good of inherited effect of when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. That's pretty cool, especially because, 1, I can Vortex into it, 2, if I have Palmon out there and Palmon's effect is active, I can effectively gain 2 memory when attacking. Pretty cool. Let's go on to level 5. So I have Grand Galemon, that's a 4 of. It has Vortex, so pretty standard, and then it has the when digivolving, suspend 1 Digimon. If this effect suspended your Digimon, this Digimon is affected by opponent's Digimon's effects until the end of their turn. Pretty standard for this deck. And then it has this inherited effect of when this Digimon attacks, you can, when this Digimon attacks an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend this Digimon. So that's pretty cool. That means that I can, if I've got the inherited effect, I can, in my turn, attack into the opponent's Digimon and then unsuspend, and presumably they have another Digimon out there. I can then Vortex into their other Digimon, and it's only once per turn, so it remains suspended that time. But I get rid of 2 Digimon for the price of just removing 1, so yay. Then we have the other Grand Galemon. It's a 1 of. I don't like this one as much. It suspends a Digimon on digivolving or on played, so that's cool, but I don't often use the last bit of the effect with if it suspends one of my Digimon, I may play 1 Digimon card with Bird Avian in my hand that has 3000 or less DP without paying the cost. I don't really use it that much. I typically, if I am suspending a Digimon, I'm suspending my opponent's Digimon. So unless I really need the protection, if I really want to guarantee that Grangalemon stays there and survives. I don't often feel like I'm using this one though, because sometimes I don't have a 3000 DP or less Digimon in my hand. Most of the time I don't actually, because I'm playing them. I want to use the search. I want to suspend my opponent's Digimon. I want to have a cheaper evolution. I want to have Palmon 1 be a threat to the opponent and 2 also just be annoying and give me memory. So I don't often have a 3000 DP or less Digimon in my hand, so I don't often use that. Yes, it does have the suspend one Digimon, I can suspend an opponent's Digimon, but I don't often play that much. It's not as useful as the other level 5s, and it has the same inherited effect as the other Grangalemon, so it unsuspends. So it's just kind of there. And I'm actually strongly considering replacing it with a Rapidmon, but then that means that I have an extra Digimon that doesn't get found by the Digimon Liberator, Vortex Resonance, or the starter deck Terramon. So I'll talk about Rapidmon in a bit. So the next one is Lilymon. This one also doesn't get found by that, but it is quite useful. It's an ace card, so I can play it for free in response to my opponent attacking. That's pretty useful. I have often, however, played this as a hard play because it's on play and when Digivolving is the same. That is, it suspends one of my opponent's Digimon, then I may return one of my opponent's suspended Digimon with 5000 DP or less to the bottom of the deck. Again, getting rid of those threats before they become threats. And yeah, I've often just hard played this. Yes, it is pretty cool as an ace card to play for free, or evolve for free rather, but most of the time I'm just hard playing this, I find, just as a ability to 1, suspend an opponent's Digimon, and 2, return a suspended Digimon with 5000 DP or less to the bottom of the deck. So something I like to do is I have Palmon out there, and then I hard play this, and if presumably Palmon's effect is active, I'm effectively getting a level 5 for 2 memory. That's pretty useful. Also, I can evolve it for effectively 1 memory if I have Palmon out there, so pretty useful to have there. Again, removing threats before they become bigger threats. Then we have my last level 5, which I mentioned a little bit before, and it's Rapidmon. Currently it's a one-off. I'm strongly considering testing in the week leading up to the regionals, is that I'm going to try running this as a 2-of. Yes, it doesn't get found by my special searches for Liberator, but it is pretty useful because it has the on-play and when Digivolving effect of Digivolve 1, so effectively you trash the top evolution card, so whatever's, not the top evolution card, the Digimon that's on top, and then it de-digivolves. I guess it's exactly what it says in the tin. And that's pretty useful, again, removing threats before they become threats. And if I have a tamer, which most of the time I do, it has protection from being deleted or returned to hand or deck. And what I really like about it is the inherited effect of when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash, don't know how that managed out there, wow. Trash with an A. You trash the top security card of the opponent's security stack. That's good because if I've evolved it into the EX7 Zaphagamon, I'm doing 2 security attacks already, so effectively I'm getting rid of 3 security from the opponent's side. That's pretty useful, but again, I really like it because of the de-digivolving, because again, we're getting rid of any threats before they become threats, or getting rid of a threat if it is a threat. So do like this, tempted to go up for 2, depends on how many times I cry because I find it in the Terramon search, which I'm already crying over anyway. Next we go to our level 6s. We have Ancient Kazemon. This is new to Digimon in general, this card. It only came out at the start of this month, and it has the on-play and when Digivolving of suspend all opponents' Digimon with as much or less DP as this Digimon. None of your opponents can unsuspend to the end of their turn. This is a board-wide effect, so if they play something it still can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. That's pretty handy, especially because I'm also suspending everything, which means more Vortex targets, of course, and getting rid of some threats there. I have hard played this and it has saved me from dying the next turn, or effectively it would have, and I would have won. However, my opponent had a really, really lucky draw, but I still really almost saved. I almost won the game by playing it, but I lost to luck, which does happen, but I'm just happy that I got it out there because I really do love Ancient Kazimon as a card. So that's pretty useful. It also has the additional effect of when this Digimon would leave the battlefield, you may play one level 4 or lower Digimon card with the Avian Bird trait from the Digivolution cards without playing the cost. That's cool because maybe I have a Quillamon there and I can delete one of their Digimon with 3000 DP or less when this Digimon leaves the battlefield. It's a one-of. It does get found by the Terramon search because it does have Bird in the trait, and that's why it's there. I don't think I would have it if it wasn't a bird, I guess, because it wouldn't be found by that, and it'd be another card that I cry when I miss. Of course, it doesn't have the Liberator trait, so the Liberator searchers don't find it. But otherwise, it's pretty decent as a one-of. I really do like it. And then, of course, we have the Zafargamon in my level 6, which is the EX7 I have 3 of, which is the Security Attack +1, and it suspends one Digimon and potentially bot decks another suspended Digimon, or the same suspended Digimon, when Digivolving or when attacking. That's pretty handy, again, getting rid of those threats, especially if they have something like Paladin mode or any ace and that's suspended. I can return that to the bottom of the deck and get some memory, because if it's an ace card, it has the overflow. Pretty handy. Do like that. And then we have the starter deck Zafargamon, which is the Vortex, and when Digivolving, suspend one Digimon, unsuspend one Digimon, and then all turns, when any Digimon unsuspends for the turn, this Digimon isn't affected by effects of the opponent's Digimon and gets plus 3000 DP. Now, recently I've kind of wanted to throw in a Mega Gargomon ace into this deck, maybe swapping out one of the EX7 Zafargamon, so I'd go 2 Zafargamon from EX7, 2 from the starter deck, 1 of Ancient Kazimon, and then 1 of the Mega Gargomon ace from the Terriermon starter deck. And that's because it does have reboot, and that means that if I have Zafargamon from the starter deck out there, and I keep on unsuspending Mega Gargomon, it effectively always will have that protection if Mega Gargomon is suspended and then unsuspends in reboot. I'm not sure if I want to do this because, again, it's another Digimon that doesn't get it doesn't get found by the bird, avian, etc. searches. So it's not maybe a fantastic idea, but I still kind of want to test it just a little bit, at least just as a one-of. But I don't really want to get rid of the Zafargamon with the security attack, or one-of rather. So I have to kind of think and maybe test about that, because I do like this card. I do like it as a 3-of. But that's something that I've been thinking of recently. And then we have the one level 7, which is the Paladin mode. It's an ace card, so it can blast Digivolve, and then on play or when Digivolving. So I have hard played this and it has almost saved me, but again, sometimes you can get unlucky to a draw from the opponent. Trash all Digivolution cards of all your opponent's Digimon. Return all cards from you or your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck. If this effect returned, a white level 7 card, gain 3 memory. And then when attacking, which is not once per turn, and this is something I didn't realize, by returning one of your Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, unsuspend this Digimon. So for some reason I thought this was just once per turn, so I had game, and my opponent was very nice to point this out after the fact, because that means that now I know you can unsuspend it and then do it again, and you can do it for as many Digimon without Digivolution cards in the battlefield. So that is really handy, and it's not once per turn, so it's even better than I originally thought. So that's pretty great, especially because if you've just blast Digivolved it in your turn, you can just get rid of all the Digimon and do a security check each time you do so. So that's pretty cool and fun, but it does have the overflow of 5 if it leaves the battlefield. Next we have our option cards. These are all the same, so agility training, top 2 cards, get a green card from among them, and then delay, you can reduce an evolution cost by 2. No, it's only 1 of. The green memory boost I have as a 2 of. Reveal top 4 cards, 1 Digimon card from among them, then as a delay, so next turn you get 2 memory when you trash it. Then of course we have hidden potential discovered. That's a 1-off in basically every green deck, I'm fairly certain. And for the turn, when one of your green Digimon would next Digivolve, by suspending one of your Digimon, reduce the Digivolution cost by 5. Pretty handy, but I don't feel like I'm using it as often as I used to, maybe. Especially because sometimes I don't want to suspend my own Digimon, but it's there if I really need it. I've found like I'm bot decking this a lot lately because, again, it doesn't have Digimon Liberator, and it's definitely not a bird because it's an option card. So I've been bot decking this so much, and part of me is actually tempted to swap it out for a Vortex Resonance or a second Vortex Resonance, which is the so it's obviously just green. If you have the Digimon Tamer that's green, so you can ignore the color requirements, and then you reveal the top 3 cards. 1 card would liberate to the hand, rest bot deck, and then you can evolve a Digimon with a Digivolution cost reduced by 4. Security effect is that you can play 1 card with Liberator trait with play cost of 4 or less from my hand without playing the cost, then add this count to the hand so I can use it next turn. So that's handy because I get to play my Terramon off it, which is great. So it also does specify that it's a play cost of 4 or less, so you can't just use this because, as I learned, this is a use cost of 3, not a play cost. So apparently there's a difference there. So yeah, I'm kind of tempted to swap out the Hidden Potential discovered for an extra Vortex Resonance just for that extra search, but I'm not 100%. At the moment, it's just going to stay. The Rapidmon is probably going to go up to 2, but I feel like I'm not going to get rid of this, but I am thinking about it. Then we have our last option card, which is Digimon Liberator. Top 3 cards, 1 Liberator card into your hand. Then you can play a 3 cost or less. So we can play, for example, the Shoto Kazuma, which is the promo. And I can get a Terramon that searches from my hand, or I can play the Terramon itself from it. So that's pretty handy. Do like this card. And of course, it's got the Liberator trait, so I can find it. Same with the Vortex Resonance. Then we have our Tamers, so I won't talk about the promo one because I've mentioned that quite a bit. It's very useful. So first we have the X7 one, gain 1 memory. If your opponent has a Digimon suspending this Tamer, it gets Piercing and Blocker, and if it has Vortex Warriors at the end of turn, it unsuspends. That's pretty good, as you can imagine. And then we have the starter deck Shoto, which if I have 2 or less memory, it sets it to 3. That's pretty standard for a memory setter. And when one of your Digimon attacks an opponent's Digimon, you can change the target. So I feel like I'm using that less and less lately. Sometimes I just want the attack. I'm finding I'm using the promo Shoto and the one that gives piercing quite a bit because sometimes I want my big Zafargamon to have piercing, or my usually less big Zafargamon because it doesn't have the plus 3000. Zafargamon to do the extra check, especially if it's got the Rapidmon inherited effect. And then our babies are pretty standard. We've got 2, 2, and 1. This one has the gain 1 memory. This one has the suspend on attacking DP less or equal to this Digimon. And this one is a one-off, and it draws me 1 card when this Digimon attacks one of my opponent's Digimon. I'm less thrilled about this one. These ones are fine, but sometimes I do like the card draw because I might be missing a certain piece that I managed to top deck. So that is the deck that I want to be running for regionals. Again, very strongly considering swapping out the Grand Gale for Rapid, but yeah, I know I said I'd talk about this deck for less than I did last time, but still I'm managing to push half an hour for some reason. But that's what I'm running. Don't think it's going to change much except for, again, the Rapidmon. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, etc. in the comment section below rather. And maybe next time I'll be able to string more than 2 words together. And if you have any advice about how you want to see these deck profile videos go in the future, again, comment section below. Like this video for the fact that I can run some of my favorite Digimon like Ancient Kazumon, like Aquilamon, and like Palmon in this deck, so like this video for that, and Rapidmon as well, of course, because I do like poodles. So subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!